everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining this conversation. My name is Ejiro, and I am going to be your co moderator for this event today. First off, I must say Happy World Health Mental Day. Good to have you join us here this moment. I appreciate you for your time and for being here. And I promise you, it promises to be an exciting experience because this webinar is one of many. Now, it's a special edition. Why? Because we're talking about the mental health of Nigerian children. Okay, now I'm going to begin first off by introducing my co moderator for this event. His name is Onyekachi Basil, and together we will take you on a journey that you will not forget in a hurry. Hello, Kachi. Good afternoon. Good to have you join us here this afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Ejiro. Thank you so much for this wonderful privilege opportunity to be here. It's going to be amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes, it's definitely going to be amazing. It's a very, very exciting topic we have at hand. We're talking about beyond survival, the forgotten mental health of children in conflict-torn Nigeria. This is not a topic that a lot of people talk about so much, like one would expect. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I yeah, I do agree with you. We have been so much concerned about children in the northern area, their welfare, food, livelihood, and clothing. And then we neglect the mental health of these children. We neglect the mental side of their livelihood. And it has been a concern because these children grow up to, become, what will I even say, the effect of what they went through their childhood period, what they see, the traumas. And if we don't look at these things, if we don't come to, address this situation mentally, it's going to have an adverse negative effect in their life. So it's an important
Exactly.
topic.
A very important topic, and I can't wait to begin the conversation. So, if you're joining us on this call right now, do well to let us know your name and where you're watching from. Would like to know you, would like to meet you, so that we can have the conversation, going. And meanwhile, I'd like to introduce Udo Foundation. Udo Foundation is a non-profit organization that works to increase access to education for less privileged children in Nigeria. Now, we work with a lot of kids in conflict torn areas like northern Nigeria. And that's why we're having this conversation because we've noticed over time that beyond classroom learning, many of these kids, right, have underlying issues that have to be addressed because some of them have seen their parents being killed, some of them have been displaced. Some have even been kidnapped. You won't believe it. And then it's beyond just telling them, okay, go to school, go and learn, go and get an education. No, there's something here that needs to be cleared. And that's why we are dedicating today for these children who mean so much to us. We are using this medium to advocate and call for the government and every stakeholder to know that these kids need mental health support urgently. Okay, so Udo Foundation is the organization hosting this particular webinar under State of Education webinar, which we hold every month. So this is just a special edition, and we hope that you enjoy every ride. Right. So now we're going to get started. Myself and my co-moderator, we are not alone. We have some amazing speakers in the room who will be giving us nuggets, who will be giving us insight as to why this topic is even important in the first place. Kachi, sometimes I wonder when we hear mental health in the Western world, in developed countries, I think it's a big deal. But why do you even think in Nigeria or in other African countries, it's just now we are getting to even understand what this thing means? Don't you think it's funny? Like, I think it's funny, really. What do you think?
Well, we Nigerians, we grew up, as with that survivor instinct. So whenever you're doing something, they will always tell you, my friend, man up, you can do this and all of that. Be a man, especially to the male gender. So we grow up with
Yeah.
survivor instinct. I don't know if it's because of our forefathers, what they went through, the slavery and all of that. So we are just
Hmm.
different in Africa. So when it comes to the word mental health, they have a lot of misconceptions about mental health, and the thought is just when you say mental health, you're talking about mad people, people in the psychiatric world, and all of that.
I
But
agree.
mental health generally, it just talking about the mental well-being of a person, the way the
Yeah.
person thinks, feel, act towards something. So that's just the mental health. But when you talk about mental illness, then you're talking about the state of the mind at that time, the negative state of the mind, right? That means this person has been diagnosed to know that, oh, this person has had an issue mentally. So that is mental
Yeah.
illness. Actually, in the mental field, mental health field, we don't say mad people because there's actually no drug for mad people, but there's
Hmm.
actually drug and diagnosis of mental illness.
Amazing. Don't mind him, oh, he's a mental health advocate. That's why he's talking like this. Me, I just know that. In fact, we need more of mental health awareness and support to Nigerians. Because you see, that survival instinct you said is very true. It made us tough, yes, but that's why some you see how the average Nigerian behaves sometimes. Because we are so stressed, we tend to snap even in the tiniest situations, we tend to just behave funny because we are just stressed. So we even need that mental health support all the more. That's what I think, really. So I know we're going to have an amazing conversation today. Like, I really do. And our speakers are just waiting for us to bring them in because I know they have a lot in store for us. So now I'm going to begin by introducing our first speaker. Now, this is an amazing person. She is phenomenal. She has been in the mental health space for some, and she has done so much within such period, like remarkable progress. She has worked with young people, especially those who didn't even know where to go, where to turn, and she was so excited when I asked her to join us in this conversation today. So now I'm going to be introducing our wonderful guest speaker for today called Enebong Blessing. Right. So now, hello, ma'am. Good afternoon. Good to have you join us here this afternoon. How are you today? And how has it been so far? I'm wondering if our speaker can hear us. She can join us now so that we can see her face and get to meet her before I read her profile. Okay, I hear she's having network troubles. So I'm going to go ahead and read her bio while I believe she's going to soon. So now Anna Bong Blessing is a passionate mental health therapist. She is an emotional wellness coach. She's a writer and the visionary founder of Brace Up Integrated Consult, BUIC. Now, BUIC is a leading mental health and personal development organization, right? And she, with over 5 years of offering counseling, emotional wellness training, mental health awareness program, Blessing has empowered countless individuals through therapy, coaching, and training sessions. Yeah, I can testify to that because I participated in one of her um, online trainings. I tell you, I was burnt out at that period and I absolutely enjoyed every session, every part of the training. It was worth it. And she's a committed person. She's deeply committed to helping individuals grow and thrive. Hello, Miss Blessing. Good to have you join us here this afternoon. How are you today?
I'm fine. Good afternoon. I needed to hide
Good
my face,
afternoon.
so you will not see the humility on my face. Good
No,
afternoon.
today we own this face. Nice to meet you, Blessing. And I'm so glad you joined us on
Thank
this call.
you.
In fact, this topic today, we are going to do justice to it. We are going to make so much noise about this mental health issue that people will wonder what the Great. So I want to come back to you. So let me quickly introduce our next speaker. I'm wondering if he's on the call right now. That's Dr. Suleiman Bello. Hello, Dr. Suleiman. Are you here with us this afternoon? Is Doctor here on this call with us? Okay, not yet. So I'm just going to hold on until Doctor joins the call before I introduce him. So let's just get the conversation started, right? So now, Miss Blessing, good to have you join us here once more. Mental health. We're talking about children in conflict torn Nigeria. And the truth is that I cannot begin to tell you how sensitive this issue is, particularly because on the field, we've seen kids being taught in the classrooms, and you're just teaching, just as a teacher. And then you ask a child a question, they can't even hear you. They're just looking outside the window like they're lost. They're completely lost in thought. And you're wondering, you're calling the child and we can't hear you. And then you have to tap him. And out of shock, he just flames up, like he just flares up. Like, why are you shouting at him? Why are you calling him? This is a reality on ground for some kids in northern Nigeria where we work. The kids we work with, the kids we got off the street and put in the classrooms. You know why? Because some of them feel so alone. Some of them are, when you tap them, they are scared. They just react out of fear because some of them have watched their parents being killed. Some of them have been kidnapped. A lot of vices they've experienced. So that's why this issue is very important. So I think I want to allow my co-moderator get the conversation started by asking you a few questions. Kachi, please go ahead. Oh, he's gone off the call. Okay, I'm very sure that's network. All right, so I'm just going to get started with the first question I would like to ask you, Blessing. But first off, if I don't, do you mind me asking how do you feel about this topic? Like you're talking about the forgotten children in conflict on Nigeria. How do you feel about this topic? Just hearing it alone, what comes to your mind?
Okay, I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So it's a question that has been pondering on my mind for years, even before I even dived into the mental health space. I think where this question came in was it's about like I think let's say 12 to 13 years ago. I was in church, Canaan land precisely. So we're trying to get some relief material to send to IDP camps in the north. That was that time Boko Haram just newly started. So for some very weird reasons, I was like, I don't think food is the only thing these people need. I don't think food is the only thing people need because I know obviously you just have to start somewhere. And yes, they were able to gather materials, medical materials and all of that. But I just felt like it's beyond just giving these things. Yes, everybody has their roles, right? Ours is just to, okay, we can be able to provide this and this. But whenever I can see on TV screen, when they always share the BBC and I think Al Jazeera, CNN, and the likes that whenever they want to portray Africa, you just go to the IDP camps and just focus there and all of that. Just keep talking about poverty, like that's their own focus. Not until I got into the mental health space, I realized that this is way deeper. And yes, I've seen a lot of movies on mental health. And when I got this topic, I was really excited that, oh, finally, people are deciding to talk about this. People are ready to want to have this conversation. And lastly, one of the things that really um, made me more excited, I saw a video, I think sometime last year or early this year. It was my first time seeing children that are below 5, smoking. Like they were puffing things. I was like, even me that as an adult, I've never taken, and they didn't see anything wrong with it. And with the own physical, I'm trying to get physical features and the environment. I could tell it was the north. And then I told one of my friends that grew up in the north, and then he said it's a normal thing. Say children smoke there, like it's not a big deal. I wept my heart was really, really heavy that there was no big deal. See little children taking hard drugs, smoking, and they posted it online. Like there's nothing you guys can do. And they felt so happy doing it. So it's something that have been really hoping that we'll talk about. And here we are. I hope it does a lot of persons come to this part that things are really happening. So yes, that was what how I felt like when I heard the topic.
Amazing. Amazing. Just feels good to know that yes, our speaker is ready for us today. So let me hand over to my co-moderator, Kachi. Please let the questions roll in. Let's create awareness about this issue. Okay, so I think it's having network issues. So let me allow you, listen, you're still going to go on with this conversation. So give us briefly, give us for the next few minutes, give us a keynote about mental health awareness. What exactly is this? What does it mean? Because I'm very sure that mental health, like I mentioned earlier, is a growing issue. It's a growing concern among Nigerians. It's a novel topic, sort of, because many people still don't even know what it means, right? Like my co-moderator said earlier, some people just when they hear mental health, they just feel it's mad people, or they still don't understand the concept behind it. So before we even talk about the mental health state of these kids, what exactly does this subject mean? What does it cover? Can you give us a background story to its meaning, what it entails, why people should know about it, why they should be concerned? Just tell us, please.
Okay, so I'm not going to give the Greek derivative because it's not it's not that deep. So when you hear anything mental, you know it has to do with the mind. And the interesting thing with the mind is it's linked to your emotions, it's linked to it can also affect you physically. It's linked to I don't want to just okay, let's just leave it as just the mind. And of course the mind is linked to everything. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So whatever you think is what shapes you. All right. So why the whole mental health awareness? Years ago, I was also a part of that, those people on that WhatsApp group. I probably even created the group where I felt like anytime you hear anything mental health is equal to madness because we're made to believe that. So, and every slightest thing, it just feels like, oh, yeah, this is it. So, yesterday I had a class last night, and I remember the story. It's something that happened. It happened to me when I was a teenager. I was in secondary school then. And the memory just came, and I was like, oh, yeah. People don't know that anything, even madness, it's not always from your father's house or mother's house or an evil arrow. These things are accumulations of things that you probably knew and you ignored. All right. So I apparently that Monday morning we're rushing to school. You know how Mondays can be now. Oh, get up, you're ready to fire down. So we stopped at then I was schooling in I schooled in command day secondary school Shodi. So we got there at the bus stop and this very properly dressed man on his suit, you could see his small bag, like looking very sharp. He just came down from the bus, and under few minutes, this man ran mad. There, I felt like, oh, it must be an evil arrow. People are now praying, hey, they don't get him, they don't get him. But I remember the story. I was like, it's really not always like that. Am I disputing the spiritual forces? Of course, I don't. I'm a believer, so I know things like that happen. But things also happen because you accumulated. For instance, I've also heard of a lady that lost her sanity after a breakup. What must have happened? It's possible there are several reasons. It's possible that okay, she's been in several relationships and this one just felt like this is my last straw and then she couldn't take it anymore. And it's possible that maybe the person kept on abusing her mentally, emotionally, and everything. And it's possible the person squandered with all her resources. I've seen movies like that where somebody ran mad just because somebody duped her. She couldn't believe it. And she didn't believe she was mad. She didn't believe. So they had to start working on it. So these things is very important for us to understand that our minds need healing as much as our physical body needs nurturing, just as our beyond just books. I know when some person say, so far I'm reading books, I'm getting educated. Take care of your mind. When you are burned out, what do you do? When you are tired, what do you do? When you're frustrated, what do you do? These things cut across to everybody. It's not, don't say doctors have it easy. Don't say you're a mental health practitioner, you have it easy. In fact, I'm of this school of thought that whatever you are teaching, you experience it the most. That's part of my school of thought. All right. So I'm glad that persons are coming to this awareness. Everything, you don't need to tie up a child or tie up somebody in the spiritual house for them to pray and flog them to get the demons out. Demons can be tamed, demons can be sent out, but then some things too, it's just knowledge. So that's that about being mental and then mental health. I hope I didn't deviate from the question.
Oh my God, not at all, not at all. I really like the fact that you've tied it to the mind. That's just when you say mental health, I get what you say, even if I didn't know what it meant before. So mental health, my mind, right? The state of my mind. Is it healthy or is it not healthy? It doesn't matter if I'm a child, I'm an adult, I'm old, it doesn't matter. It just refers to the health of my mind. I love that. Thank you so much. My co-moderator, what's happening to your network? I don't know what's happening, what's going on, what's going on.
I can't even understand. We did this test run at the background and it was fine. So left for me to start talking now and the thing is misbehaving. Well, we won't blame Nigerian network anyway. So they will mess with your mental health, right? But it's just you just need to know how to. Okay, so sorry about my
I
brain. So
like
sorry about my
that.
brain. So we're right back in the question.
Nope.
Okay, so today we are looking at beyond survival, the forgotten mental health of children in conflict-torn Nigeria. Now, the underground story about this is we've seen children witness their parents being killed. We've seen children being kidnapped and maybe returned back to the community. We've seen children face a lot of trauma, loss of properties. And now many NGOs and many organizations and even the government are just after providing welfare, their shelter, food, clothing, and all of that. But everyone is neglecting their mental health. So, as a mental, emotional well-being coach, and the first question I want to ask is that what are the psychological effects of insurgency on children who have witnessed violence or displacement?
Okay. So for the psychological path, right? I know we're focusing on children, but I think I would just have to generalize it. Every one person is facing it. In fact, when I was even studying further about it, I was always looking at just the, because most times anytime it comes to things like this, we just focus on just the PTSD. But when I study different types of trauma, I realized that most of this one of the trauma persons experience in this particular line is complex trauma. Any, of course, when you hear anything complex, you just know that it's very deep.
Yes.
It has a lot of
Oh,
things that are attached to it. So what? Okay.
I'm sorry. Actually, can you take your mic? She's echoing, so it doesn't.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the psychological effect it has on the children, the parents, because truth be told, some of these persons is their children that were killed. Another interesting fact about some of these persons is that some of them, no, none of their family members are killed. Some of them started living in the trauma of another person. So they are living in the trauma of another person. there are different types of trauma they experience. It didn't happen to you. It didn't happen to any of your loved one. You started having some, the effect started showing, reflecting in you. And part of such effect, of course, panic attack is there. They feel when they hear, I don't know, depending on whatever happened, it could be gunshot. Even if it is, some can even react to toy guns, even just playing with it. You see them easily get triggered. Of course, there's the PTSD, that's the post traumatic stress disorder. Um, Panics, there's anxiety. I will found out that there's another big bro of anxiety, that's anxiety disorder, where constantly they are, it's as though every little thing just affects them at that moment. Parents, you now start seeing parents getting so careful with their children because of something that must have happened. I think the most recent one I saw on TV, I didn't watch it because I know myself. I can start feeling it personally. That's one of the problem with people that are empathic. You get to start feeling the same thing. That's, I think it was in Benue where they burned houses. That's the one that very dark man had to go. I'm very sorry in case you are hearing noise. I try to tame all the children, but this just keeps happening and it can be very distracting. Please really forgive me. Yeah, our home is a home for children. All right. So when I saw that, to be sincere with you, I cried so much. At some point, I stopped reading and watching anything that had to do with that incident. I almost wanted to start saying, God, why do these things keep happening? So imagine me that was not on the field when this happened and I'm feeling this way. A particular man said he lost, let's say he had about eight family members. He lost about seven, if not all, seven. I think it was all. A mother lost, I think, four children or five children, including her husband. How do you feel? How do you think she would feel? Beyond, yes, resentment is also part of it. There's this hatred both for Nigeria. Yeah, it's not just the people that committed the whole thing. It affects everybody. Nigeria, and maybe one of them, maybe let's say the big sister decided that that day she wants to travel. You now start hearing things like, "Why didn't you die with them? Why did you stay?" So there's resentment, there's anger, there's PTSD, there is secondary trauma. That's for those that didn't experience it directly. And so there are so many. Maybe if the question is being more streamlined, maybe with a practical example, maybe I can just put it, there's panic, there's anxiety. Those are, and so much more. To be sincere with you, there is so much more. The effect is not, yeah, there are common effects, but it's not specific. There are some persons that when they tell you what is affecting them because of the same event, you'll be amazed and start asking questions like, Azal, where did you pick this one from? And of course, there's depression, there's hopelessness. Hopelessness is there, there's sadness, so many others. Those are just like a few of the psychological effect it has on the children, the community, and of course, people that are not even there, for empathic people also. Those are just a few of them. I hope I was able to answer that.
Yeah, thank you so much. You were able to give us a background feel of the effects children and even adults faces psychologically when they face issues like this. And my next question will be that what will be the effect of this untreated trauma later in life in the life of these people who has experienced this insurgency in their life one way or the other, or those who have been a victim of this circumstance. So what will be the effect, the negative effect in their life when these traumas are not treated?
Okay, so for the aftermath, I'll use an example of a lady I watched one time. Um, it was a northern lady. Would I use it? Okay, she, let's put it, she's a Nigerian, but a Muslim. Yeah. So she experienced things like this, but as involved rape. it involved rape. I think some years ago, I didn't know. Then people used to feel like when people and kidnappers kidnap persons, maybe male and female, it's just the females that are being raped. I got to find out from one incident. It was in Zaria. The kidnappers came into Zaria thereabout, just came and picked random people, both male and female. It was a polytechnic in Zaria thereabout. Just came and picked random people, both male and female, and paid ransom. They were free, and they ran tests, and a lot of them came out as HIV positive. So when that happened, I really cried. I cried because uh, I don't know how they are going to live their life. I went to school. I paid school fees. I didn't commit. I didn't offend. Why did this happen to me? So this lady came on live because then people they were going to schools. I think it was around that time where they were going to schools randomly, not secondary schools now. They were now going to polytechnics, universities to do that. She said it happened to her years ago, but she had not fully healed from it. Even while she was streaming, she was crying. She said she knew the pain she went through and said till now, even sleeping is difficult for her. She refused to get married, I think. I can't remember that, or I don't know if she got married, but she had the opportunity to leave Nigeria. She said in her life she would never step her feet in Nigeria again. So after effect, insomnia, some of them can't sleep, some still see it. For mothers that their children were affected, they become overly security conscious. Most of them don't want to let their children go anywhere because they just feel that if it happened to me, I don't want it to happen to my child. That is mother instinct. Hopelessness, not being able to also concentrate. Ejiro shared something that from the beginning, she said sometimes you are teaching the children and they are looking outside the window. They are not seeing spiritual beings. They can't concentrate. They know what they went through. Some of them, they are even picturing their mom coming to pick them from school, coming to see, they are picturing their dad coming to pick them. I don't know if you saw that movie, Sarafina. That movie is like a bit of just a little bit of what those persons, those children, those people are going through. Some of them now grow very strong resentment. I just told you this lady said in her life she will never set foot in Nigeria. Now imagine the children now say, Mom, I want to go to Nigeria. Why? What do you want to say? Except tracking device. So there's the hatred, not just for the people that caused the havoc, but also for the nation because they don't want them anymore. Check person that's gone through secondary trauma or complex trauma. They don't attach themselves to people. If you have seen war movies, you see something like that where the guy maybe he had a partner, his first partner died in war, second partner died in war. You see that even when somebody wants to attach to him, he will tell you that no, I don't want anybody to attach to me. I always lose people. Do you get? That's like that. Most of them don't want to be attached to somebody because just there's this fear of what if tomorrow this person dies. There was a particular war movie I saw that at the end of the day, the guy had to even die for the person. He said, I think I've lived for so long. Now it's your own turn. And when he was even dying, he was seeing his friends that had died, all of those things. So those kind of things. And then persons are walking and you are scared. There's this extreme fear. You don't even know what will happen. This anxiety, okay, am I going to be better? Am I going to ever come out of this? Imagine persons that are already affected with a virus they didn't go by themselves to get it. Somebody just came out of their sheer wickedness. What do you want to tell them? A lot of them wish for death. That it's better they just die. They become suicidal. What am I living for? Some of them even self-harm themselves that I'm done. And extreme cases, some of them even join and said, okay, it's time to punish other people. We don't always talk about the other side. We just say, let's talk. Some of them just say, oh, you know what? I think there's nothing in my life again. Let me join the clan. Let me also cause havoc. Let me join kidnappers. Some of them move into abusing drugs because they feel that, drugs has a, I've never taken it, by the way, has a way of making you feel like you are not here. It takes you to another dimension. So they switch off from reality because reality is too painful for them to bear. So they switch off from reality. So, and so many, it's peculiar to persons. But every one of it is painful. Sincerely, it is. What I can do is prayer. Imagine somebody coming online to tweet, may Nigeria not happen to you. And the next few minutes, it happened. You didn't bring it upon yourself. You were just traveling. We're just going to help people. We are just doing the, like, I think I'm becoming emotional. I think I should just stop here. All right. So that's that about it.
Wow, this was really touching. I can't even imagine, you know, someone going through this much. There's a difference between saying, I know how it feels, and having the experience itself. It's so sad, really. I think it's a good time to bring the pursuit and speaker who happens to be a conflict expert. So let's analyze the reason why children in a situation cannot access this kind of support. So, Dr. Sulu, good afternoon. Good to have you. Can we have Dr. join us in the call?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. We can hear
Yes,
you.
we
Good
can.
afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
joining
you
in.
very much.
We have an
I
amazing.
can barely hear you. Yes.
Okay, can you hear me now, please?
Hello. Yes, I can.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So, please, ma'am, please stay on the call, bless you, please, because it's a synergy of conversation, right? Let me quickly introduce Doctor, and you understand why. Now, Doctor, I'm going to read out the bio briefly. I think everybody needs to know who Doctor is. So, Doctor, we have a working history together. Is a very wonderful person and is actually very busy. And I really appreciate you taking out time to be here. So, Doctor works with us at Widow Foundation. His organization, Sabaro Humanitarian Foundation, partners with Judo Foundation, right, to offer educational support to kids in Jibia local government in Katsina State. Now, if you know, Katsina State is one of the beehives of insurgency in Nigeria. That is where it's happening. Do you understand? And I think Doctor mentioned some time ago to me that there's been some sort of ceasefire. I can't remember, but at least there's temporary peace. Okay, and he's a conflict expert. Okay, so when it comes to mediation with all of these people, he has been there, so he understands what happens on the ground, right? So let me just introduce you briefly, Doctor. So he's also a senior lecturer with over a decade of experience. He works at Umar Yar'Adua University. Pardon me. He has experience in research, teaching, and consulting, although his expertise lies in radiological, chemical, and environmental risk assessment. He recently developed interest in energy transition for climate change mitigation. Now he's a visiting senior fellow at Athena Center for Policy and Leadership and a member of the prestigious Nigerian Young Academy. He has extensive job experience in community development, focusing on peace building and quality education. Thank you for joining us here, Doctor. We have our other speaker joining us here. Her name is Blessing, Enobong Blessing. She is a mental health expert and wellness coach. So she has just been giving us a background, right? Introduction and story as to what mental health is, why it's important, and why we need to talk about it more than we already are. And you can also see my co-moderator here, Basit Onekachi. So he's also a mental health advocate, right? And a volunteer with Tido Foundation. So together we'll be asking you these questions, right? And I want to say, bear with us if we have to go back and forth with you and Blessing, because we see that these topics are very, very, interchangeable. So let me allow. Okay, let me just ask the first question. Sachi, you take over from here, right? So, doctor, you are on the ground. Don't mind me. Don't mind us that we are in one place. You are on the field. You live in these communities, right? And you've heard what Blessing has said regarding the effects of insurgency on these kids. So, one should wonder, why don't these kids have access to this mental health support? If we look at the implications of leaving it unattended to, I mean, insomnia, anxiety, depression, hopelessness for children. So now, what are the major barriers to providing mental health support for children in these conflict zones? Doctor, that's my first question to you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm happy to meet all of you. So at least today I met new friends. I met Blessing when I joined. I was listening carefully to her, and I don't have to repeat most of the things that she said because she has made my job very easy. So I no longer have to talk about the apex, and what have you. I will go straight to the point. Now you see some of these barriers. The problem is, as the saying goes, usually when you have a problem and you know that you have a problem, then already you have at least 50% of the solution. The main issue is psychological issue is everywhere. We are living in these communities, but the problem is, does the people even understand what it means to need psychosocial support? Does the people know the symptoms that when they see in a particular individual, they can identify that this particular individual has been psychologically disturbed? He needs a particular maybe therapy, or he needs a particular advice or a particular support. I can tell you the major barrier is that of awareness. People are not aware completely. And another problem is there is sometimes a cultural issue here. What I mean by cultural issue is, usually whenever somebody is suffering from anything psychological, it is being connected with spirits, usually. Instead of looking at the problem carefully, it is being connected to the spirit, or connected to an extent that there will be a kind of, maybe somebody is not happy with the way he is progressing, or maybe somebody is not happy with the parents, therefore they went in the negative side of it and they are affecting the children. That is the connotation that is being given to things of that nature. And even though in Katsina, for example, we have psychiatric hospital and we have many doctors, especially in the main town, who have their expertise in curing or dealing with people that are psychologically disturbed. But the problem is, people usually call them as doctors of mad people only. People think that when they see you around somebody who is given psychological support, then automatically you are already mad. Therefore, sometimes even if you are being affected by the problem, you are afraid of opening up to come to the psychiatric hospital, because the connotation given to the psychiatric hospital usually is that it is the hospital for mad people. The people doesn't want to go there. So I think if you will give me 2 hours to speak on the barriers alone, I will dwell more on awareness, because I believe is the first step that we need. Because once people become aware, I like it, since one of us is already a mental health advocate, so I insist that let us continue the advocacy. It's only when the people are aware that we can have philanthropists joining us, we can have religious leaders joining us, we can have government both local, even at the local level, the local government will come to understand that this is the problem that we have, and they will definitely get a solution. In fact, there are even many NGOs that are even looking for where they can go and do their work to provide psychological support. But you cannot provide something where it is not needed, where the people there did not even know that they needed that particular service. So I can tell you now, the barriers are many, but this particular barrier is what is the primary barrier. All other barriers are secondary and tertiary because they are resulting from this particular primary barrier. Therefore, let us continue the good work of advocacy. I believe once people become aware, they will definitely get things right. Thank you very much.
Wonderful one. Thank you so much, sir, for that response. It was wonderful. Where he said if we can give you 2 hours, we talk on this. But that's true because we have a lot of barrier. I was talking from the beginning that in Nigeria here, when we hear the issue of mental health, we just ascribe it to mad people, and that is a very big barrier. When we come to understand what mental health is, then we can actively be involved. We can seek for solution. We can open up because at this point in time, when someone to open up and said, "I'm having mental issues," the person will say, "It's like you are getting mad. Go to the psychiatric." And like you said, it is rampant everywhere. It is a common knowledge in Nigeria, and we need to do away with that ignorance. Thank you so much. Now, the next question we want to ask you, sir, so that we'll move to Mrs. Blessing, is that how can NGO, knowing this effect, there are children who has been passing through this trauma because of what this due to that insurgency. Now there are a lot of issues regarding these barriers right, and then we need to seek for solution. Then how can humanitarian NGOs, governments reach out to these children who are displaced, who are passing through all these traumas? So how can they safely and effectively reach these children? So what are the necessary
Yes.
steps they need to take?
Yes. Thank you very much for this follow-up question. The usual rhetoric in the NGO sector was initially organizations usually run their activities through top bottom approach. That is, you just sit down in an office, design a program, and then relay the program in a community, then be running your monitoring and evaluation, and you learn along the way. But now things have changed. If you are looking for solution, many NGOs are now imbibing the culture of community-based approach. When an NGO wants to solve a problem like this, they should take the community-based approach as the way to go because it is the only way to go. As an NGO, when you come to a community, there are already people that are community leaders who have been working in different aspects, maybe directly linked to what you want to do or indirectly linked to what you want to do. And they are already trusted in that particular community. Therefore, when you go and you work with them, they can help you identify the right people to give intervention to. And they can help you to scale down some of the approaches you have, and you will easily get acceptance. Therefore, I am a very good proponent of community-based approach. I believe if you want to provide psychological support at NGO level, you can do your design, but let it be participatory design. During the design, let the communities get involved in the design, and then during implementation, let the communities be involved in the implementation. When you do that, definitely the solution will be obtained. Another thing is, I think the best idea again is to stop treating psychological therapy as an independent entity. Let us start thinking about how do we integrate mental health issues into existing services. For example, I will tell you there are many projects that are ongoing now in complete areas. So instead of maybe treating mental health project as a separate project, while you are working on a project, for example, that has to do with education, like Udo Foundation is already working on education, trying to support, children that have lost their parents as a result of insurgency. They are paying for their school fees and what have you. So along the line, we can now integrate the issue of psychosocial support so that we can create some times, even if it is 3 times in a year or 4 times in a year, in which you will have sessions trying to relate with these children in the issue of psychosocial support, so that it is not treated as an entity, but rather it is being treated together with the program that we have already been running. And then there are a lot of livelihood supports that are being given in some of these communities. So if we can integrate psychosocial support with livelihood, then it will be a very good solution, and it will definitely yield the needed result. And then the intervention, because the technology has made it very easy for us, I think we need to also leverage technology. For example, now we are meeting. As I'm speaking to you, I am in Katsina. And I know Ijiro Loki is in Lagos, if I am right. Okay? So the technology is making things very easy for us. Therefore, we have to integrate technology into this. I believe that if you, for example, I am not a mental health expert, but today I am with Blessing, and Blessing is already a mental health expert. If I want Blessing to talk to my children at Jibia, who are being supported by Udo Foundation, I can create an online meeting, and then I can open the speaker and connect, the meeting to a speaker, and Blessing can take us through. And as she is taking the children through, I am also gaining the knowledge and the experience. I will continue to scale it down. So I think we need to, number one, we need to develop community-based approach. Number two, we need to integrate mental health into our existing programs. And then we need to also leverage technology. And then also people who are frontline workers that have been working, even including security forces, teachers, doctors, they need to have the knowledge of this particular knowledge so that they can include it in what they do daily. I believe when we do this, we can definitely have the solution to this. Thank you very much.
That's a wonderful response. That's good. First, you said we should go by the community-based approach, and secondly, incorporate mental health into our activities, into our curriculum, and third, we should leverage technology. And you go by those. But I have kind of a problem with that community-based approach. I believe Ms. Ejiro will be able to witness about this the last time we went for a community outreach, especially to these rural areas or where we refer to as ghetto. Now, there is this common thing they usually do, that you come in as an NGO to impact life in that community, and then you have touts disturbing you. You even have the community leader telling you that there is a certain amount of money you have to pay them, and you're bringing development into that community. And this is the problem we are facing as in Nigeria. And this has scared so many NGOs out of that community. NGO will be witness. We have to pay some community leaders before we can even have access to the people. And they are the one telling us, and there are some that you can't even trust with the items you're bringing into that community. Reason being that they will have to first prioritize their family members or those who they love in that community. So this is the problem we are facing in these rural areas, especially where underdeveloped area. So how do we solve this issue? How do we manage this issue? Because communities NGOs are scared of going into that community. Because the last one we went, and one of the community leaders was telling us that tout beat the staffs, the people, the volunteers that came with the NGOs, all because they were dragging the food stuff they brought into that community, and they have to seize something, they beat some people up, and people are now scared going to that community, and help is no longer reaching the grassroots. The people who needed these things are not getting that help. So what do you have to say concerning this? Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you very much for that. I can say genuine concern. And I can tell you that this is one of the price we have to pay as community workers. You know, the problem is simple. You know, there are so many NGOs, and each particular NGO has its particular modus operandi, how they operate. Okay, so people in the village, and remember, people in the village are people that usually you want to help when you are doing the development work, but they seem to be not interested in what you are bringing. But you know the solution, you know what you are trying to take to them, and they don't know what you are trying to give them. And then, secondly, remember, there are NGOs that have a lot of money. These NGOs, I can say, let me put this word in quote, they spoiled them. They spoiled them. Last 2 years, we did a project, sometime by which when you call people in a single day engagement, you will be paid 40,000 naira for the engagement. 40,000 naira, 1 day engagement. So imagine in a particular area when an NGO is paying that money, and then you come from Udo Foundation, for instance, and we are coming to tell them that you wanted to support them, and you are giving them nothing. They will, the first thing that will come to their mind is that you collected money in their name, you hided the money, and now you are coming to just lecture them. This is normal. We are used to this because that is what people think. But to me, to be candid with you, to me, that usually I don't raise an eyebrow on that, because if I know what I want, I definitely have to have a way of navigating those communities. What you do is, even though it's a community approach, there are people like minds, always there are like minds everywhere. So that is why before you enter the community, you need to do your stakeholder consultation and engagement properly. And even before the engagement and consultation, you have to do your stakeholder identification properly. If you do your identification very well, of course, there are only very few people who will definitely be with you. But do your stakeholder identification carefully. I can tell you that you will have the right people to work with. But if you just use anybody you have at your midst in that community, then you are on your own. Because many people have been brainwashed to thinking that everything NGO, everything civil society is about bringing money, it's about bringing goods, it's about delivering services, it's about this and that. And they don't want to understand what you want to bring, except if you are coming with something. So I believe this is our work. We have to continue to do it. We just have to continue to re-strategize based on the different demands of the projects that we are particularly working on. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Doctor.
Yes.
That's very, I don't even want to say anything because it was a very funny experience. My time had, you know. And like you said, they can't give up. If global organizations, global NGOs have come to drop dollars, and then you're coming to speak English, you're wasting your time because they don't want to hear anything you're saying. Just drop the money. Okay. But we'll keep doing, we'll keep trying. And I loved one point you highlighted that when you talked about how NGOs can safely reach these children. So one thing you mentioned was integrating mental health projects into existing projects, not something independent. So that would take me to Ms. Blessing. So now, this is what Doctor has mentioned. Don't just implement a project in mental health space like all on its own. We are trying to reach children in schools in different areas. How exactly now can schools, NGOs, and local community become safe spaces for mental health recovery? How exactly do you think that we can implement this kind of projects? What kind of projects or programs do you think we can implement in this regard? Thank you. Miss Blessing, can you hear us, please?
Okay. Yes, I can. Sorry. Do you know what is why I was thinking we were talking to doctor? Since I heard NGO is paying 40K, I've been calculating in my head that even myself, what do you want to tell me? Give me 40K, I'm fine. I will heal myself. Okay, so I really didn't get the question. I'm answering my sister then. So
Oh,
then I was a bit distracted.
okay.
I'm really sorry.
No, no problem. So I'll just repeat. So when doctor was speaking, he mentioned that mental health projects should not be done in isolation, like independent projects. So it should be incorporated into already existing projects. For example, we are already in the education space, and we've seen that these kids need mental health support. So rather than just going and saying, okay, we want to do a mental health, why not integrate it already into the program you're offering? So my question to you now is, if this is the case, what kind of project or programs can schools, NGOs, and even local communities implement, you know, in their spaces to provide this mental health recovery for kids? That's my question to you.
Okay, so personally, I think before you can collaborate with anybody, you need to know what each of them stand for. Okay, so there are some organizations that they nothing concern them with mental health. What they are just focused on, share is rice you want, we'll just give you rice, and that's just their role. There's nothing you can do. There are some that will just tell you, okay, we'll just come and be checking their blood pressure. That is it. So number one thing is, what is your area? Does this community serve for this area? We know you want to impact people, but to be sincere with you, you can't just impact if it's novel, especially in a place that is not open to things like this. I know, yeah, God opened the doors for me. Yeah, I know, but then God has made some things very easy for us. Just go through the channel. All right. So sometimes most persons just want to feel, they feel that because I already have the idea, I everybody must get this thing, everybody must need it. And it's not always so. Sorry. Aside that sorry, that everybody must need it. It doesn't work like that. So if you are new in a place and you know that okay, this place doesn't offer what I have to give, you can make inquiries. First of all, you need to be in that community, make friends. People can't trust you if they don't know you. Don't start coming with letterhead. What concern them with letterhead? You bring letter, they will tear it. I some years back we went to Ilorin. We had a conference, so we wanted to do sightseeing. But I already browsed online. We wanted to see the longest waterfalls. So we got there, and the route wasn't. It was like what you ordered versus what you received. So by the time we were going with our van, and we didn't tell school. School gave us bus for conference. They didn't give us bus to go and chill out. So we just contributed just because we wanted to sightsee. So we got to a particular location and they told us to park the bus and said, from here, you cannot. You've entered a particular community. Then they instructed us that we have to go and see their Oba, that is the king of the community. At first, people were like, for what? Is it not an open place? That is their rule. We have to abide. So just within everybody didn't go together. I just sent the leader and somebody else. Then of course there's language barrier, so they had to use Yoruba. Spoke to the Oba after a very long time. Only God know what they said. I don't know. They went back and forth, and then Oba Nan said, two persons from the community should see us off. We still didn't even get the old drill, so they were even saying, asking, okay, who wants to follow us to the place? People were refusing. So it was just two children that agreed. So we felt like, why are these people ashamed? Or they've seen the water. It was when we trekked. We trekked more than 2 kilometers. We now understood why people refused to go. By the time we were coming back, they had to go back to see the Oba again. They did whatever they needed to do before we got back to our hostel. That day, we prayed a lot of prayer because things happened on the road. One of those days that I can never forget in my life. So, what am I saying? The community is not really used to people coming. But by the time you came, still with the boys, we had to be friendly, things like that. So, you need to
Okay, so I think she's having network issues. Yeah, I think
Yes,
she's
I
having
can.
network. Yeah. Okay, so Miss Blessed, we can't hear you. If you can hear me, I think you're having network troubles on your end. So I'm going to allow you to come back to the call um, while I engage Dr. Suleiman again. So I'll let her go back to the question when she comes. So, but doctor, let's continue with you. Now I know that to a very large extent, um, there has been some sort of dialogue between, would I say, stakeholders in these communities where the conflict has, taken. And I want to believe some efforts have proved successful. I'm very sure in Libya, like you were telling me before now, there's been a ceasefire, even though it's not permanent, but at least right now we can say it's safe for kids to at least go to school. So how does the lack of mental health care impact peace building efforts? Because we cannot say that we want to provide mental health support when there's chaos. So we are only able to do this work now because there's relative peace. So what happens when the conflict comes back, or how exactly should we balance or ensure that even in the midst of conflict, mental health support can still be provided? Yes, sir. Okay, doctor, I think you're muted, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for this question. I think your question centers on how the lack of mental health care impacts peace building efforts, right? Right? Okay. So thank you very much. Number one, when you look at it, of course, as you mentioned, not only in Jibia here in Kasana State, in many other LGS, there has been a kind of ceasefire based on dialogues that happen in many of these LGS. And the dialogues that happened were led by community. So they are community-based dialogues. But the issue is, still the mental health issue, mental health care definitely will have an impact on the peace building effort. Because number one, you see, mental health, as Blaise discussed in one of the apex of this mental health that we are discussing about, is trauma. So when somebody is traumatized, trauma alone can cause another next violence. So unless that is why there is need for de-radicalization and so many other things. The trauma perpetuates violence. So there is a connection between trauma and violence. Therefore, some people had their parents killed along the process. Some people had their parents kidnapped, and everything they possess has been sold off and paid to the bandits. And now there is dialogue that everybody should live in peace. How do you want these people to, manage the trauma that they passed through? So this is an issue that we are still looking at, and even the state government is also looking at that, so that the peace can be sustainable. Otherwise, it cannot be sustainable. And then another thing is, the mental health issue is always linked to social cohesion. Now people live, especially in rural communities, people live with these bandits together in the same communities. And before the banditry, remember, most of the bandits that we are talking about, most of them are people who are also members of those communities. So since they are members of the communities before they join banditry, and now that there is a ceasefire, they continue to live in those communities. But remember, what they perpetuated is also in those communities. And the people affected are living in those communities. So the people will live together with them, with the perpetrators of that crime. So it's a very delicate, complex situation. Therefore, imagine the feeling when you see somebody who killed your parents and he has now been forgiven. You are praying in the same mosque, living in the same, going to the same market, living together. So it's a very delicate situation. Therefore, this issue of psychosocial support that you are talking about can never be as important as the present time. But I believe when you are doing the process of healing through the psychosocial support, these children can be made to understand that the need now is looking forward, not looking backward. Because if you are looking backward, there will never be peace. And looking forward is better because at least the problem has stopped. Because as I am talking to you now, like in Jibia, where I know very well, there has not been any case of banditry or kidnapping in the last 6 or 7 months now. So at least people are living, people can sleep with their 2 eyes closed and what have you. But the psychological issues are still definitely there. Therefore, this is the best time when psychosocial supports are needed in those communities. And remember, these children that we are talking about, talents has no boundary, as we know. Some of these children will be very important in the future of the entire country, or possibly will be very important in the future of the entire world, but we don't know. Therefore, this issue is reducing human capital for the nation. Therefore, we have to invest. We have seen impact. Last 2 days, I was reading about the guy who received the Nobel Prize in chemistry, just last 2 days. The guy grown up in an IDP camp. He was a professor. He grew up in the IDP camp. So who knows how many talents of this nature we are burying down in these areas. Therefore, psychosocial supports are very, very much needed in these areas so that we can be able to reduce the tension that these children are undergoing, and then we can be able to build their confidence to be competent enough to pursue their future so that they can forget what happened in the past and they can pursue their future. And then they can at least have their trust restored, because they have to restore their trust in the community members, their trust to religious leaders, their trust to the government. Because somebody whose parents have been killed, many things happened, and nobody could help him. No the religious leaders, no the government, no the NGOs, nobody. And now you want him to function well as a normal member of a society and to be relevant nationally. So you have to work on that particular person. And the work needed is arguably the psychosocial support together with the livelihood and other supports, so that together, when you integrate them together, you are now producing a new particular individual that has the energy, to pursue his future. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you so much, Doctor. You've said so much and shared so many insights. I'm just wondering, I wish, our stakeholders and the policymakers can listen to this, because it's so important. You said something very striking. How do you expect a child whose parents were killed to function as a normal member of society? In their hearts, they can harbor all kinds of rage, anger, bitterness, and beyond that, it also affects their ability to function at their fullest capacity, which is also reducing our human capital development. You can see the far-reaching effects of not even providing mental health support to these kids. Doctor, we are still going to come back to you, please. We are definitely coming back to you. I know my co-moderator has been having network troubles, so I'm just going to ask Madam Blessing this question, then you would, continue with Dr. Suleiman. I mean, like I always tell our viewers, please pardon us with network troubles. We are in Nigeria. We have no control over that, please. Okay, and I can see a very wonderful viewer of ours, Process Promise. She says, well done, guys. Thank you so much, Promise, for joining the conversation. We hope you are learning a lot, and we hope you also leave us your questions, so that we can take them after now. Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Blessing, I'll come back to you. I know network interfered last time, and Doctor had said so much regarding intervention systems that we could use. So if I may to ask you now, Nigeria is not the only country in Africa that is experiencing conflict. There are so many others that have experienced conflict before now. Talk about Rwanda. Okay, that is a very, very good example, even though it was in the past. But I mean, we can look at these countries. Which of them can you say? What interventions have worked in countries that have experienced conflicts and they were able to transition from that experience, were able to heal, were able to provide support, whether mentally, financially, I don't know. What interventions would you say have worked in similar post-conflict settings that Nigeria can look at, observe these countries and adapt, to our own country and implement it to provide support to victims of violence and insurgency? I don't know if you got my question, ma'am.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'm really sorry for my network. All right. I was almost tempted to say aura for aura, but okay, from studies, at least I know of quite a number of countries, and I did a bit of study on conflict management. Whenever we discuss conflict management, we always look at this: let peace reign in this angle, don't do anything. For believers, we employ Exodus 14:14. The Lord will fight for you and you hold your peace. All right. But then there are different ways in which we can achieve peace. For maybe you can check it out, different types of conflict management. We have accommodation, where we just know that, you know what, just like white and blacks now living in America, they are not entirely cool with themselves, but there is this part of them that, oh, it's not, it just happened. So we are white American, black American, so they just had to accommodate themselves. Of course, we still know there's still racism, right? There's another part that is called I don't know, maybe I should just quickly browse it because I've forgotten. Compromise. There's another one that is called compromise, where you just feel that, see, I'm not entirely cool with it. Like for instance, what happened with Nigeria and Cameroon, where they were fighting. Oh, you see, I've forgotten the name of. There was something they were fighting for. Cameroonians were
What
claiming that
Bakassi
they
Pen-
had. I didn't hear you.
Is it over Bakassi
I didn't.
Peninsula?
I don't know. I don't know if that, but it's a name that is striking.
We
I
now
can't
we now
remember.
get it there. Doctor will help us with. Don't worry.
So Cameroonians were claiming that it's theirs. Nigerians were claiming that it's theirs. After the whole thing, back and forth, just came to a point of compromise. You know what? Just take it, just for peace to reign. It's not like Nigeria is entirely cool with it, but then we can't keep going back and forth for years. Then we look at the case of Russia and Ukraine. Now, what is even causing the fight is just a piece of land that as though both countries have. But instead of just speaking English, let's come to a point of agreement. Putin decided that let me throw missiles, and that's it. Till now, it's still on. Would I solve a problem? Not entirely. What I'm just trying to drive out is that there are different ways in which this can be done. I can also encourage that government get involved, not shadingly. Right now we're in Africa, let's just be sincere, there's a lot of rituals, right? So a lot of persons are speculating that these things are being done um as a ritual. And I've seen it online. So many persons has given their ideologies on it and all of that. And I at least I know of somebody that is in the military that says several times that the soldiers know the persons that are causing these things, but they can't do anything because there's somebody at the top that's telling them that no, just keep going. And innocent lives are dying. Some just out of the anger left the military that they are not in anymore. So if persons can just come out, we just the funny thing that we need just one person. Scripture said when the righteous rule, what happened? The people rejoice. Nobody is saying that everybody can be good in a country. Even this country that you're feeling that is working, you'll be amazed that there are a lot of things that their social media is not even portraying that is happening. Until you get to the country, you'll be like, what is going on? But it's just that you guys are making noise now. But it's just that it's because it's because they know how to cover it up, and they know how to just paint the image that they are good. There's a particular country I'm actually studying on. I've been studying on them for long when it comes to mental health. Somebody told me that I told him, okay, can you share some certain things? And he told me it's not from that country. He told me point and blank that I said, listen, until I graduate from here, I'm not going to and collect my paper. I'm not going to share anything because if I do, even if I try to fake my voice or anything, they will find me. And you think when you see them, you think they are living a perfect life. It's a lie. Africans here, we are just too loud. That's just the thing. There's still this high level of greed, selfishness, until we come to that point to see that this thing is beyond us. It's beyond what I want to get. It's beyond my family. Human lives too matters. Then we are already halfway solving the problem. Some people just feel that it's none of my business. It no concern me. Not until you touch somebody that is very dear to them. This I don't care attitude. What can we do? There's prayers, of course, and there's the part of people speaking up. Not youth leaders say, okay, we're going to go and talk to our leader, community head, and they give him one bag of rice and he closes his door. That is fine, we're not talking again. It can't work that way. So there has to be unity of mind, unity of goal. And then people supporting that, oh, doctor is saying now he's in the is there working as a medical doctor. It doesn't have to just be somebody that was on stethoscope. You see somebody having an issue. Okay, you know what? Let's just train this community on first aid. You can't always bring everybody to the hospital. This is what you can do. Crisis management. You can do this, you can do this. Where is beyond just a particular set of persons, where everybody is fully involved. So, not selfish, not saying it not concern me. That way, trust me, you are going better. Sometimes you need to retaliate. I'm sorry I'm saying this live. There are some things you just need to go aura for aura. If you remember, I think it was, is it America and Japan? I be China and Japan war. Then that they were hitting on Japanese back to back, and it just felt like this thing was unending. Japanese were just dying anyhow until they created a very crazy will I call it, is it bomb? I'll call it a bit rocket. I can't remember what they created, but it was very deadly, such that when it hits your land, it takes the grace of God for anything to grow on that land. They just shot it straight to their very fertile ground, like it made that land barren. Imagine they keep shooting that thing back to back. The whole community, the whole country will die, including the person ordering fire. They had to come back and sit down and say, you know what, we are sorry. Let's talk about this thing. And that was it. So sometimes it goes that aura for aura. And I will just end with this. You saw the one that happened with I think it was out no, so a part in Edo State. I bet I studied in Benin. If those guys hadn't done that, it would have penetrated Benin. It would have penetrated Edo State. From that place, to move to other parts of Edo State. That's how I started with Benue. That right now it's not like this. Do you understand? So sometimes you just have to, hey, guy, I've had enough. And people keep saying, we've not had enough. That's why we're just allowing things happen. So that's what I feel. I stand corrected because I know doctor is in the field. He knows what is going on there. I'm just saying based on the things I read and I really don't have the field experience. Okay. So that's it. Thank you.
Oh my God, what a conversation! Like I'm literally hoping and wishing this would not end. And there are questions for you guys. So, but before then, let's just take 1 minute break, and we will be right back. So don't go anywhere. Just take a sip of water. Just stretch your legs, and we're right back to take questions. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Miss Blessing. Sorry, I was muted. All right, so welcome back to the conversation. I hope you didn't go too far. So we're going to get to the last segment of this webinar. I know it has been a wonderful journey so far. And if you had no knowledge about what mental health was, I'm sure now you know better what mental health is about, what it entails, the effects, the consequences of not paying attention to your mental health. I'm sure you already have more knowledge about that. And beyond that as well, how that kids who suffer from um, witnessing the horrors of conflict where they live, especially in northern Nigeria, what or how important it is for them to access mental health support and the consequences if they are left, unattended to. We've had two amazing speakers join us here today. Dr. Suleiman Bello, who is a conflict expert and lecturer at Umar Musa Yar'Adua University. He has given us on the ground experiences and how exactly we can provide, you know, mental health support to these kids, challenge the barrier that exists, and also ensure that peace building efforts yield results. So, I mean, peace in any environment ensures that mental health support can be sustainable, right? We've also had another amazing speaker, Ms. Blessing, who is a mental health expert. Give us a robust explanation into understanding the subject of mental health and how exactly Nigeria can implement solutions and systems to providing mental health support to her citizens and those that need it the most. So now we're going to be taking questions. I know that some persons are like, this thing called mental health. It's not the way I'm looking at it. Oh, well, yes, it's not the way you're looking at it. But I'm very glad you joined this conversation because webinars like this create awareness on this issue. And I love what Doctor said initially when he said that in many communities, the reason there is no access to mental health support primarily is because there's no awareness. And I've noticed it to a very large extent because it's mental health, World Mental Health Day, yeah, everybody's screaming and shouting. Okay, do we even know what it means? Do we even know what it entails? Nobody is even asking those questions. We are just excited and that's it. No. And then beyond that, mental health support is supposed to be geared towards the people, the most vulnerable groups. You cannot have a country that is being almost torn apart by conflict and war, and then you're not putting the victims of the conflict on the limelight. What are you talking about then? What mental health support are you referring to then? So let me take this question for Dr. Suleiman. And it says, sir, you mentioned that the victims and the perpetrators are living together. Yes, he did mention that. Will this not further tear down the mental health of the victims? I mean, imagine I grew up knowing that this was the man who killed my father, and you say there should be peace. How is that supposed to be? There cannot be peace now. So, will this not further tear down the mental health of victims? This is the question directed to you, sir.
So, okay, thank you very much for this question. Actually, when I saw the question typed on the chat, I was like, yes, there are questions that have answers in two ways, in the negative and in the positive side. So the direct answer to this question is yes and no. But let me explain. Yes, I mentioned that the victims and the perpetrators live together within the same community. Then the person asking the question is saying, will this not further tear down mental health? Well, before we can say yes or no, we have to understand the mental health state before the negotiation, so that we can now understand the state of that mental health after the negotiation, and then we can now respond to whether has been teared down or not. Many people, as I am talking to you now, are very happy in those communities, despite this challenge, because where they left and where they are, the state where they are presently, is far better than where they have been. That is in some of these communities where peace is restoring gradually, where there are talks. That are the communities I am talking about, okay? So I can say this is a kind of new normal we find ourselves in. Because before, in most of these villages, there are villages in which everybody has been displaced completely from that village. You can imagine the state of the trauma that time. And then there are villages where people were not completely displaced, but once it is after 4 o'clock, 4 p.m., everybody has to leave the village and go to the bush and get a hideout where to stay until next morning. Or they have to move to a neighboring community to spend the rest of the day and then the night there before they come back tomorrow in the morning. It's not even talking about going to school, going to hospital. No, nobody is even talking about that. Going to do your business, nobody is talking about that. Going to the farm, nobody was talking about that. That was the state before. And now with the dialogue, people were able to go back to the farm. Some schools were being reopened. You can access some health care. You can move to the market. Though the trauma is still there because the perpetrators are still living together with the victims. I'm still repeating. Therefore, let us analytically look at this problem. This is how the situation was before. And this is the situation that we are in now. Now, these children can access school before it was not possible. They can access health care now before it was not possible. They can sleep with their 2 eyes closed now before it was not possible. They can do farming, they can do their recreational activities. Everything can happen now, but before it was not possible. Therefore, it is really disturbing if as a victim you have to live with the perpetrator. But isn't it more disturbing that the situation that you were in before continues non-stop and you don't know when it is going to stop? These are issues we have to look at critically. Therefore, when you look at before and after, I can tell you that in terms of mental health, the state is better now than before for communities that have engaged in these dialogues. That is it. But in terms of seeing the perpetrator as a victim, of course, it is touching. So at the end of the day, you are going to have a kind of mixed feeling. Mixed feeling in the sense that the feeling is still there, that cannot be removed. But the feeling of gradual restoration of peace, the positive side of it, is still there. So there is going to be a kind of tug of war there, and it depends on the personality involved to be able to boil down the response to this particular question. Thank you very much.
Amazing. I like how you went about that question diplomatically, Doctor. So, like you said, I like the fact that, of course, the mental health of the children has to be first of all checked in before you even tell them to, live with these people. So it depends on their state of mind. If they have truly healed from within, if they've forgiven, if they've let go completely, why not? I mean, they're children at the end of the day. They can't always heal. I mean, and then again, time heals every wound, like they say. It may not be easy initially, but as time goes on and you see that these people genuinely repent, well, you may just forgive. I mean, how long will you hold on to grudges? Yes, so it's not easy, but we are really hoping that these children will get through this and get through it and come out of it successfully. All right, so I have another question for Miss Blessing. Please, can I have that question projected for Miss Blessing? Or I could just read out on my end, if that's okay. Okay, so let me just read for you, Miss Blessing. Doctor, there's one more question for you, so please just hold on. So, Miss Blessing, someone is asking, what kind of resources communities, right? Whether it be the schools in the communities, whether it be the NGOs in the communities, what kind of resources would they need to provide mental health support to these children since they are financially constrained? I mean, they are looking at communities that have been ravaged by conflict, right? So it's already very difficult when it comes to livelihood. And now we are saying provide mental health support, maybe in the schools. So they might need to equip one or two teachers, or what is the basic, or what is the bare minimum when it comes to providing access to mental health support? What can any organization, at any level, provide? What do they need to provide these services to children that need support? That's your question, ma'am.
Okay, so it's a very, very dicey question. I was just thinking resources, resources. Sorry, I'm making up. All right. So, what kind of resources do these people need? I don't know if you've seen things like this where they'll say, take one thing out. Say, between money and love, you have a choice to take that one thing out. They'll tell you, see that money, go, 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 leave it, take out the love. I'll find love with money. That's how this sounds like to me. All right. So, what are the resources? Truly, you see that mental health awareness. Because even if you fund something that people don't really know, to be sincere with you, it's not really going to work. And right now, even in the mental health space, to be sincere with you, a lot of persons right now are really not uh, just giving it out for free, to, be, to tell you the truth, because it's costing people a lot, a lot, a lot. Okay, thank you for projecting the question. It's costing people a lot. So what you can do, there are still persons that are willing to, but provided the value is communicated well, that people that are ready to see, I don't mind if you like, take me to Afghanistan. All they are passionate about is, see, I just want to see people liberated. Personally, right now, I really don't see myself traveling to the northern path. And that's because of my parents. And I can explain why. We've lost a sibling. So my mom and my dad keep emphasizing on, I don't want to lose another child. I remember when they posted me to Yola, I had to spend 2 days on the road. You needed to see the number of calls they were calling. And even when my sister wanted to go and school in the north, my parents kicked against it. So that time itself, that she was considering traveling, that was when they raided that train and they killed people. I think it was Kaduna side. And she needed to go to that Kaduna. They started calling, oh, we've lost one child, cannot lose another one. So in as much as I'm passionate, I have to consider their health. I know what they went through. Even last July made it 10 years since he died. They've not fully moved on. So I cannot even speak that English. So I can only send forth my prayers. And even if I must go to the north, that will be flight and a place that my mother can be at peace. That's the thing. So, but then, in as much as I can't, what I can do is my passion, I can give out a lot of services, or let's say some services for free. Part of it is equipping the teachers, just like what you do is intending to do. There's language barrier. So we need to equip these teachers. This is how we can do it. Okay, put it like maybe every every week. It has to be every week because if you start something and say once in a month, people forget it. So every week, simple mental health acts. Before you start this thing, you just tell them close your eye. Imagine yourself in a better place. Imagine yourself happy. If you see yourself happy, what is that thing that will give you happiness? Doing that kind of task gives them this place of safety. It's not expensive. You just need one person to spread it across. Doctor is very much informed when it comes to mental health. So imagine doctor equipping another person. That person leads, equip two persons. I saw an India movie. The guy said he doesn't want to influence all the community. He just needs one person. By the time you influence one person, the person goes ahead to influence two. But most times, whenever I want to do things like you always just look at the money first. Yes, is money important? Of course. Like I said, doing courses because if you just put mental health there, I'm a mental health person, some people will not take you serious. So for them to take you serious, you need to spend. So imagine you're spending hundreds of thousands and millions, and somebody is telling you, come on, we are passionate about you are speaking English, or you will pay. You will really, really pay. But there are ways to communicate these things. Please, right now, this is our financial capacity. However, this is what we have been doing over the years. And this is it, this is it. Any sane person can at least say, okay, I cannot give you 2 hours, but I can give you 1 hour. You have started doing something. So imagine you've influenced one person, the person goes ahead and says, okay, I'm creating a mental health program for children every Saturday evening. Come for 1 hour, 2 hours. And he speaks Hausa to the community, to the parents, going to their house to house and telling them, you're already spreading it. You're spreading it. So rather than just focusing on everything has to just do with this money, why not look for other alternatives? There are resources, and one of the major resource we need is human resources. When it comes to resources, people always think it's financial that is the number one. You can have finance and you don't have the right people. You can ask those people that they pay 40K that time. Most of them blew everything. They don't even remember. You need to start speaking English. Uncle, you don't remember? I wore white too. I do this one. You will explain, no evidence. Everything has gone. So why don't we just equip the humans in the right ways, however we can? You can send motivation stipends, maybe like data or transportation. Just make sure you know how to sell the vision. That's the goal. Just know how to sell the vision in clarity. You have to be very clear. Don't start saying, people are this thing. We have been praying. See, some person will not reply your message again in that kind of. They want to see result. They want to see that okay, what I'm sacrificing my time for is worth it. I don't know if this answers the question. Just influence, just get a human resource, get a little bit of capital for an encouragement. Because trust me, if you are just going every day, it gets tiring. But just say you just not do anything. Wait until you have made it. Maybe like 5,000 children will have died before you make it. So that's just my own school of thoughts. Thank you.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you, Blessing. And I must mention here that there's something in the pipeline. Foundation is working with Ms. Blessing's organization, Brace Up Consulting, right, to provide mental health support to these kids. So it's still a work in progress, and we are hoping that it will manifest soon because we cannot keep quiet, like she said. And it takes only selfless people to want to even do this. And I think I must appreciate her for her desire and her passion to support these kids. Thank you so much, Miss Blessing. And we hope that when this begins, others will see the importance, of having to provide this support. But then I think the next question will address this thing I just mentioned now because so yes, Miss Blessing wanting to offer this support. She wants to train these kids, provide mental health support to them, but she is not even in the north, right? And I know doctor talked about technology, so let me go to that technology part now. So, doctor, someone like Miss Blessing that doesn't speak Hausa, and we know that these kids, majority of them, or they're not generally Hausa that they speak. So yes, we know we have Zoom, we have Google Meet, and other technology devices that yes they can use to connect. But even in my head, I'm trying to figure out how exactly is this going to work. So let me ask this question because it's going to help us very well. Sorry, please, can you help me project the full question? I want to get it clearly. So, doctor, someone is asking, how can technology be effectively utilized on the field since mental health experts may not be present on the ground due to language barriers? This is based on the assumption that many experts do. Sorry, please, can you help me? Yeah, many experts do not speak local languages. So, how exactly do you think this is going to work? I know Blessing mentioned training the teachers. I don't know, but even the teachers, some of them are not really understand English very well. So, how do you think this can work? Yes, sir.
Yes. So thank you very much for that question. And I am already a tech enthusiast. So I think I like this question. Yes, you see, distance now, I keep insisting, is not a barrier. We are not divided by our geographical location now. Let me give you direct example on some projects that have happened in places. Okay, you can design a project, for example, whereby if you sit down, for example, now, you can look at the different kind of effects that are being experienced by children living in such communities. The effects are well documented in the literatures. When you read the literatures, reports on many places where there were conflicts, reports are there. In fact, even with the use of AI, you can easily tell AI to, for instance, give you the most probable effects that will be the most probable effects that will be experienced in terms of mental health by people living, in northern Nigeria that is being bedeviled by, banditry and the kidnapping. I believe artificial intelligence can help you to come up with, the different effects, and you can even ask it to rank them based on priority. Okay, so if you identify them, you can even use AI to ask for solutions and some exercises, very simple exercises that can be done, as a cue to that particular effects that have been identified. For example, Blessing just mentioned one exercise. She said you can imagine asking the students, for example, or children, to close their eyes for a while and then open their eyes, and then while their eyes remain closed, they should imagine themselves in the best place, and this is an exercise. Okay, you can design exercises like this based on the effects. You can leverage technology to do that. Of course, language barrier is still there. When you do everything in English, you can decide to come up with an application that will be either maybe in Android, an Android-based application containing all the information together with maybe animations, or just an information in form of graphics, or information in form of text. Once you are able to do that, you can even design it in a way that it can be read, maybe even in small ponds that do not have internet connectivity. You can design it in such a way. We have seen many applications like that in the area of agriculture. You can do a very simple application that can be accessed by a small pond like this that has no internet. And you can do an application that depend on an internet, Android-based application. You can do all this because in the village, people use this type of pond. But in the town, people can access this. So when you do such applications, you can then, after doing everything in English, all you need is a collaborator. A collaborator, somebody living in this community who understand English very well and knows the issues that you are talking about, can translate that English into Hausa. And then you can even decide to roll out the application or whatever in Hausa language. So you have paid your dues, I can see. Because as you do this, you have done more than 90% of the job. The person that will help with the translation is just doing less than 10% of the job. And once that is done, you can then have things like in form of brochures, in form of applications that can be used to train people and that can even be used directly by the people that are affected. They can read it in their own local language and they can understand it. Meanwhile, it was done from somewhere. I think this is what is being done by, if we take, for example, NIMET is an agency of federal government that is educating people about the changes of climate, weather, and what have you. They have these tools that they are using. They communicate in different languages of Nigeria, in many places. And there are many other projects in health sector that are using this kind of technology and the tactics. And I think this is also something we can do. Of course, you need to spend some money, and there is you have to do some, but it's doable. We can leverage technology to achieve that, and you can be strongly helping from very far, despite being from very far. I can assure you of that. We have even designed a project similar to that sometimes in the past, but the resources, the financial resources, is what kept us. We couldn't move. We have the proposal, but we couldn't move because we have to have the finances to design the software and do this because it involves money. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, sir, for that. I believe, Ejiro, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to, my phone went off, so I have to come online with my system. And it's been wonderful because the network here is not even better than using my phone because messages and calls are just distracting. So I'm really, really sorry and apologize for going off and on. Like, what can we do? But we thank God I was able to log in with my system. So thank you so much. I believe we've come to the last segment of today's program, and I really want to use this medium to appreciate our speakers for joining us, for making it um, that this thing to be here with us. So it's wonderful. I don't know. I'm not seeing any other questions, so I just want to use this period to ask this thing what our speaker, Mrs. Blessing, your last word, what your advice, what you think we can do better, both to the viewers, the government, and everybody. What do you think we could do better in this mental health sector, and what are we lacking, and what is your um, your voice to, like, you've been in this mental health space and you know what has been the challenge that you've been facing. So what do you think we can do better? What are your recommendations?
Okay. All right. So it has really been an amazing time. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Ludo. Thank you, Basil. I really appreciate everybody. So, final words on this particular segment is, let's stop thinking it's all about us. It's not just about us alone. I learned this from somebody years ago. He said, whatever you fail to work on right now. So he was talking about children. You are just leaving children out. It's not my child, not concern me. He said, guess what? This child will grow up and somehow it will come back and affect your child because the havoc the person will cause, your child will be affected. So stop thinking that it's just centered around us. It's okay to think I'm an advocate for self-care. I love myself. I take care of myself. In fact, after this call, I probably will not even, I'll remove my phone from ring out. Nobody's calling me. I wanna rest. All right. But then it's still also important for you to know that even if it doesn't concern you directly, you can send your prayers. Some people don't even pray for Nigeria at all. Just feel like not concern me. As soon as I have money, I will leave. I know, yes, you want a better place, but there is no place like home. There's no place. There's nothing like racism here, apart from the religious differences and cultural differences that we know obviously where the whole problem is coming from. You're not looking at somebody's skin color and saying, is this one a Nigerian? Especially when we are both blacks. Just feel that, oh yeah, we are the same. All right. So there is nowhere like home. Just pray for the country. Think that, just see it as this is just beyond you. So whatever I can, if it's to support, you don't need to. It's not everybody that can go to the north to go and help. Your resources can go forth. Your partnership can go forth. Your interest can go forth. You can create awareness too. You can find people there and say, okay, this is it. This is what I have in mind. And yes, also be selfless to that point. I know someone that she's an American. She's trying to bring mental health into Nigeria. Or she married a Nigerian and she entrusted resources to somebody in Nigeria and the person squandered the money. I'm like, what kind of hunger will push you that way? Now she said she doesn't want to do it anymore. So somebody wants to create awareness, and someone very unfortunate person decided to disrupt it. So we should think beyond ourselves. This is not just about us. This is trying to make this place. We are not here forever. One day everybody is going to leave. It's just turn by turn. So what will happen to your children? What will happen to your great grandchildren? Do you understand? So that's what I feel. That's just it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, so lastly to Dr. Suleiman. So, what are your recommendations? What are the last words you have for both the viewers and everybody? You've been in this conflict. You're an yes, conflict expert for a very long time, and you've seen a lot. You've faced a lot of challenges. So, what are your recommendations?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Blessing, for blessing our day. Thank you, Basil. Thank you, Udo Foundation, for putting us together to discuss this topic this particular day. Yes, my last words is we are all in this together. As Blessing put it, even if your child is not affected, only God knows which child will save Nigeria. Possibly which child will save the entire world from the different problems that we are facing. Therefore, if one particular person is affected, feel that your own child has been affected or will definitely be affected. Posterity will judge all of us. Let us remember, whenever we mention issues of this nature, we so much love pushing all blames to government. Of course, government is at the forefront of everything because it is the enabler. It is the enabler. But let us remind ourselves that government is the enabler. But sometimes even the government does not act unless some well-meaning individuals do advocacy, go to the government times without number and remind the government that this is what is happening. Use the relevant research, use the relevant data, use the relevant examples, that this is what is happening before their attention, because before the government is so many things. Sometimes the attention of the government may not be where you think it should be. So we have to advocate. We have to reach out to them. We have to remind them that there has to be a policy integrating what we are doing with these issues that we are talking about. We have to go to them. Let us continue to advocate to them unless or until something has been done in this regard. I can assure you, most of the good things that you will see government doing today are as a result of what some people previously advocated for or worked on. And that is what the little we are enjoying today. Therefore, let us do it. We are all stakeholders in this. We can all contribute. Geographical location is not a barrier. We can all contribute towards alleviating these particular effects that we just discussed. Therefore, as community leaders, let us come together. As NGOs, government, whatever, we are all needed to come together, brainstorm, put resources together, provide our various expertise, because each and every one of us has his own areas of strengths. Let us put the areas of our various strengths together and see how we can pursue these issues seriously with all the dedication that it deserves. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Suleiman. Thank you so much, Ms. Blessing, for making it a time to be here today in the studio and sharing your own view. And before you go, I also want to use this medium to encourage us, just like you said, we should be the voice of the people. We have come to understand what this thing is, and we know how it's affecting the children, the younger ones, and even the adults. And I also want to say this, that it is easier to, to push these people into the negative aspect using what they have passed through. For instance, if someone wants to recruit these people into kidnapping, they cannot say, you can use this frame as a revenge for what has happened to your family. Why not you just join us? And this is what we are currently facing. And then we talk about kidnapping, and then we'll talk about terrorism. And this is what they will tell them, that you can use this to revenge your death. And they will easily buy into that idea. But if you can reach out to them first and tell them that you can actually heal from this, I think they will prefer to heal than to do damage. So we really need to send voices down to the affected people. We really need to create more awareness so that people will understand that, yes, we have passed through different things, and some circumstances are uncontrollable, and we have come to experience it, but we can actually heal from this. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. So I leave it here for Udo Foundation, Mrs. Ejiro, to finalize. Thank you.
Oh my God, it's been an amazing conversation. Like I lack words to express how excited I feel, because this was just in my heart. Like, can we just let people know that this subject is important? How do we go about it? And here we are. We have done just that. We have told the public that, hey, mental health matters. And I want to thank you, Dr. Suleiman, for your time. You're always there when we call. Like, I don't know how you do it, but thank you so much from the depths of my heart. On behalf of Udo Foundation, I must thank you. You're like one of the best partners we've ever had. I must also thank Blessing. I mean, Blessing is someone that, I don't know how to put it. Her passion does not lie. Things like this, you can easily say, I beg, I can just do consultation and get 200,000. But yeah, you are doing it for children you don't even know. It just shows the genuine passion that you have. And I must thank you so much. And I hope that together we would work with you and your organization to provide support to these kids. And of course, to my co-moderator, thank you, Kachi. I know the network tries to play on us, but it's a liar, right? Thank you so
Don't
much for
mind
this.
Nigeria network.
I know, right? Thank you, our viewers, too, for watching. I mean, I can see all the people on the call. It's amazing. It shows that you are genuinely interested, and together we can create this awareness and advocate for every child to receive mental health support. Please stay tuned for our next month's edition of our State of Education webinar series. Remember, this was a special edition rather, and every month we have topics we talk about. We are not going to rest until what needs to be done is done, right? And do well to also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ido Foundation. Turn on the notification bell so that when we go live on our next event, you will be notified. All right. Also follow us on our social media handles at Ido Foundation on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram. Do well to follow us so that you can get the juicy gist we always have to give you, right? And from all of us at Ido Foundation, happy World Health Mental Day. Take care of a child next to you. Check up on your loved ones and your friends. Be sure that their mental health is okay. All right. That's how you can celebrate today. And from all of us once more, thank you so much and have a lovely day. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Doctor. Bye. Bye. Thank you,
Thank you
Kachi.
very much. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.